Okay guys, I am bringing you along to make 7-layer bean dip with me. 7-layer bean dip is really yummy and it's like a staple in our house. I make it all the time. Okay, starting off with beans. This is a mixture of black beans and pinto beans that I previously did a quick soak in the Instant Pot. I'll tell you about that in a second. You can do all pinto beans, you can do all black beans. I just like to do a mixture because I just like it. So these are pretty much soaked beans, but not cooked. You can either soak your beans overnight in water, or you can do a quick soak in your Instant Pot. This is the little recipe book that comes with the IP Duo. Something similar probably comes in all the different Instant Pots. And right in here, they have a really awesome recipe for not refried beans. And in here, it has a little tip on if you forgot to soak your beans. You can do sort of something similar right in the Instant Pot right away to give yourself a soaked bean, quote unquote. So I did that, but then I didn't want to make any more, so I just threw them in the freezer, and that's why they're sitting in that pot over there in water, because they're kind of like defrosting a little bit. So that's what I did. You can use soaked beans in water, or you can use the Instant Pot to create a soaked bean effect. I pressed saute. Where can we get to saute? Let's get to saute. There we go, saute. And it took maybe 5 minutes, and now it says hot. Now I'm gonna put in just a little bit of oil, olive oil. Then I'm going to saute this onion. All right, so my onions are in, says on. I'm just gonna give it a little stir. Let those soften up. All right, so my onions softened, and I added my beans and water. I think this was maybe about 6 cups of beans, I think, and added about like 8 cups of water to the pot and the onions. You can do less beans, you can do more beans. And now a little trick that I learned from a girl on Instagram is I am adding a soup bone. I am adding a soup bone to my beans, because when this cooks, man, it makes it so much better. You don't have to have a soup bone. You can still do this without soup bones, but man, it does make the beans a lot better. So I'm gonna just stick that in there. It's totally frozen. It's perfectly fine. All right, this is about, I don't know, 2 teaspoons salt maybe? And here is chili powder and cumin. I would add cilantro, but I don't have any. I'm just gonna give that a stir. All right, let's cook it. I turn this little knobby thing to ceiling. It's still on saute, that's okay, just turn it off. Now we're going to press manual, and it's at high pressure automatically. We're gonna take it down to 10 minutes. All right, and then it's gonna take some time to get up to pressure, then it's gonna cook for 10 minutes, and then it's gonna take some time to come down, for the pressure to come down. A natural release of pressure, this could take 40 minutes. So yeah, the cook time's only 10, but it is a pressure cooker, and it's going to take time to get up to pressure and then to release the pressure naturally. So maybe in about 30 minutes this will be done, and we'll be back. Okay, my beans are done cooking, and it came down to, I don't know, I naturally let the pressure release for like 20 minutes, and then I was like, all right, this is long enough, and then I just turned the little dial to release all the extra pressure. And there's my soup bone. And here are the beans. Smells really good, looks good. Now I'm going to drain this in the sink in a colander, but underneath the colander I put a pot because I want to keep some of this bean juice for my bean dip. Not all of it, but I need to keep some of it. So, okay, here are my beans. I strained them. There's my strainer, and I put the strainer over this pot. There's all the bean juice. So I just want to keep some in case I need to thin this out a little bit. Now I'm going to take it back over, and I'm going to blend this up. Okay, so now I'm going to blend up my beans. You can do it 3 ways. You can do it by hand with a potato masher. That's old school. Or you can use a stick blender, or you can use a high-powered blender. I've done all 3. I'm going to try it with the stick blender because it's a little bit easier cleanup than with my high-powered blender. Like a Blendtec. This is some bean juice that I'm going to add in, you know, just if I need to thin it up a little bit. That worked like a charm. Okay, so that, I kind of like this consistency. I don't want it too thick and I don't want it too thin. This is a good bean dip consistency, I think. All right, so now we are ready to season these beans up and actually make it into a bean dip. And to do that, I have a seasoned cast iron pan here. I'm gonna maybe just put a little bit of more oil in, and then I'm gonna transfer these beans over to this pan, and then we're gonna season it up. I'm adding in chili powder, cumin, garlic powder, pepper, maybe some Cholula, and definitely a lot of salt. I'm using high quality salt because it's just really yummy. All right, we're gonna start with just 1 tablespoon of salt and see where we go. Actually, I'm just gonna add 2. All right, and now I'm adding just chili powder. Everything is to taste, just put it in. Here is garlic, there's some fresh cracked pepper. Okay, let's stir this up. There's oil in the bottom of my cast iron pan. That's the oil you see there. And I notice it's getting a little bit thicker. I may add more bean juice to kind of thin it out a little bit. Let me see, let me put it on low, but just if you use the cast iron pan, keep it on low because it will burn the bottom of your beans. And I'm actually gonna serve it right in this cast iron pan as well after I put on my toppings. Okay guys, just add one teaspoon salt next time, FYI. Okay, off camera, I added a little bit more chili powder and I added some Cholula hot sauce and I mixed it up, and I actually thought it tasted good, and I actually thought the salt was quite okay. So you can add 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt or to taste, it's up to you. I accidentally said tablespoons, no, I meant a teaspoon. And yeah, you can just add as much salt as you want. I kind of like salt, so I added a little bit more. Now this is my organic cheese that I just shredded, and I'm gonna put this lid on, and it's on low, and this is gonna melt the cheese right in here because who wants cold cheese on their bean dip? So, and you're gonna see it's gonna like kind of bubble up. So I'm gonna put just stick my spoon in to let the heat come up. See, it's probably bubbling up because it's getting really hot underneath there. So I'm just gonna, there we go. That's gonna let this cheese melt. Okay, so it's supposed to be 7-layer bean dip, but I'm missing some layers because I don't have tomatoes or black olives. That's okay, I'm just gonna use what I have. So I have the cheese, I have avocado, I have sour cream, I have jalapenos, and I have a little bit of hot sauce. I got 5 layers, I guess you could say, but you can just put whatever you want on it. And then I have some tortilla chips back there, and that's gonna be it. This is it, we're ready to eat. I serve it right in this, just carry it over with a towel, and it just stays hot for everyone. And this is the kid-friendly side. This is not the kid-friendly side because there's jalapenos and hot sauce on it. I accidentally squirted some over there, whoops. But and like I said, I'm missing tomatoes, and this would be so much better with tomatoes and broccoli. I mean, oh my gosh, broccoli. Tomatoes, black olives, and cilantro, but I don't have any. But it's still really tasty, so that is it. And I'm gonna go eat now, all right? Bye.